Welcome to D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. Join our various gaming groups as we play the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. And maybe just hang out and chat about gaming in general. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and RPGpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Hey guys, Jim here.
And Kelly.
And we are getting ready for 2023. What the heck happened to 2022?
We blinked.
Phew, it went by too fast. Lots of speed bumps that did not slow the year down.
But we survived. That's the good thing.
Hey, knock on some wood. It's not over yet. We still got a couple weeks. So one thing I wanted to do for the podcast, because unfortunately D&D Journey of the 5th has been so quiet lately because just so many cancellations and everything. Heck, even tonight our Whispers of the Sith game that we play on Twitch got canceled because of health and life. Oof, health and life.
It's been a rough year.
Yep. I know I already made another player frown because last weekend when our Star Wars game got canceled, I totally shared this meme going around where it's the Lord of the Rings of, and you have my sword. And it says GM getting the group together for the next game session. You have my sword. You have my bow. But then there's Gimli saying, I'm not available that day. It's sad, but we gamers know that the schedule monster is the worst aggro of them all. It is the big bad evil.
And this time of the year, it's hard, too, because, of course, you have the holidays coming up. So, family. But it's been, health-wise, man, with the bad flus and stuff going around, things are back. It's like, oh, nope, sorry, they're sick. Nope, sorry,
Yeah, so make sure you are taking care of yourself if you are playing in person. And if you're social distance gaming, that's even better, even though it's never as fun as gaming in person. Speaking of gaming in person, we have next month we'll be starting the new Scion game for Ragnarok and Roll.
Sweet.
Yep, gonna be the third Sunday of the month. We'll get some gaming on, record as much as we can. See what we got going there. So,
and ironically enough, this time my character is not of the Aesir Pantheon. It's of the Greek.
I know. I'm still waiting for everyone to chime in of who they're picking. I'm like, now just because it's Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion Hero to God podcast, you don't have to stay in the Aesir Pantheon. Nope. I mean, it's just that's one that we're all more comfortable with because there's so much good fiction going out there, and so many recorded myths out there that easy to tap into.
Yeah, and there's also for the Scion, they do have the companion one that opens it up to some of the others, like the Celestial Bureaucracy. Yes, I can say the word bureaucracy. The Tuatha De Danann. I'm not overly fond of the American one. I think it's just utterly ridiculous. I'm sorry.
See, when it comes to the American Pantheon, which is Johnny Appleseed, Johnny Ironsides, Uncle Sam, I prefer to see that as like in American Gods in the fiction, how the gods reinvent themselves for new places. Like Thor could totally be John John Steele or John Ironside?
The
railroad guy.
Yeah. I don't see it as him. Maybe Hephaestus. I don't see Thor.
I could totally see him as being a scion of Thor,
Yeah.
Big hammer will travel.
But
I will have to throw it out there. We will be playing first edition Scion, but I am totally going to mine all of the juicy, good second edition Scion stuff that has come out because they've got lots of great books for second edition. It's just that our core gaming group prefers first edition's rules, which are the old White Wolf rules, not the storyteller or story. I forgot exactly what they called them. It's like the storyteller's system, something like that Onyx Press is doing since they've gotten the IP. So they've got lots of great material. I mean, they have tons of cool material, a lot more Pantheons out there, so we could totally use those and then just use it in first edition, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
like merging of the two is a good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just like some of them. Now, are you going to take the battle wheel from the second one or the first one?
The battle wheel ceases to exist in the second one. So
yeah,
we're totally going to use the battle wheel and the game mechanics from the first one, and then just sprinkle in what we like from second edition. Like in second edition, technically, if you play the setting as is, the gods are known by the general populace. So there's no more the mist that keeps the supernatural hidden.
But what happens to fate binding then?
It gets kind of muddy, but they've got a whole new mechanic for it. But we're totally using first edition rules, so we don't have to worry about that.
Excellent.
To which you want to be careful where the fate binding is because it can either help you or hurt you.
That's true. You could have a dumpster following you. How is this dumpster?
Who knew that waste management was actually a scion of the Aztec goddess of filth?
Yeah.
The guy keeps dropping it off wherever the player's going to be, because that's fate.
Well, no, what it is it's supposed to be transferred to a different location, but for some reason, the destination code changed. I don't know why.
And for that game, the concept's going to be that we're totally going to mine some of our favorite TV shows like Warehouse 13 and The Librarians, where the group is going to be going out solving mythic mysteries and possibly reliving moments in history because, I totally like dropping that on you guys.
I loved that one where we did a Scion version of Battle of the Bulge.
Mm-hmm. Because, everybody likes hitting Nazis, just saying. And more importantly, the important mission of the game is to recover powerful magic, mystical artifacts and relics.
And keep them out of the hands of those who would use it for nefarious purposes.
Mm-hmm. While dealing with supernatural threats of the Titan spawns.
And yay, I get to play my hacker character! My hacktivist.
You're a hacktivist. Just what every scion needs is a Hermes scion who is a hacktivist. I totally sense you'll be going for one of those cool things like your computer always has internet access or your cell phone has access.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Because, since first edition came out, the world has changed a lot.
Yeah, that's true. I will have to review it and maybe tweak some of my boons and stuff because I had set the character up, but I hadn't gotten a chance to use her. So I even wrote a backstory. I love the backstory. She's fun.
Just to give you a little hint there. It came out in 2007.
Yeah.
Hero came out in 2007, Demigod 2008, God 2009, and then Ragnarok in 2010. It's been some time.
Yeah, although one thing that I wouldn't mind tweaking with the original is because you only had the hero, demigod, god. I
Hmm.
mean, it doesn't give you a whole lot of levels, to level up kind of thing. But
One thing that second edition did to kind of kibosh that and give you more options is they actually have the Scion Origins, which is podunk humans. So you can make your character human level and then boost to hero once you've had your visitation, then boost to demigod once you've gotten some cool thing that you've done. Because in second edition, they actually list out that the character has to come up with before they become a demigod what their story arc is to get to demigod status and what they're the god of, which I thought was an interesting change about, because it's basically getting your players to write more of their character's fiction. You know, are they subverting or supplanting a god that's already there, or are they coming up with something that's like in their pantheon, not something taken up yet? And I will totally give second edition credit. They have so many more mythic places, you know, the different, god realms and things that you can go to. And they did write out a lot more of the underworlds, which is nice.
excellent.
And I will also throw out there that first edition books are really hard to get a hold of. And
Very hard.
thankfully, there are a few actually popping up there that's actually priced at a realistic price. And
Not $300?
Yep, not that
Crazy.
stupid Amazon price where someone had all 3 books for $300 each. And it's like, ugh, who would do that?
Yeah.
I would tell everyone to go to DriveThruRPG and buy it. The PDF's there. Unfortunately, they don't have the rights to print it since White Wolf is debunked as a company, unfortunately. But they do have the rights to the PDF, which is good. And I will totally throw it out there that relics are the best thing ever with Scion.
Yes.
So we'll be starting on the 3rd Sunday of January, the first game, and then it'll probably start posting those episodes. I'm thinking probably the first Thursday of February. Because we're going to record as much as we can in an in-person game, because you got to play Scion in person. That's too many dice to worry about dice pools on Roll20. As much as I like Roll20, Scion doesn't really play well on Roll20 as much as I'd like. Lots of extra clicking on the web page.
Yeah, and it's really weird to set up and stuff too.
It's super quick to make a character sheet, but then when you actually do anything and have to pick what skill and characteristic are being combined, you got to do the drop down, but it hides what you need behind the drop down, and it's just a pain in the butt. Besides, it gives us an excuse to have an in-person game.
Yeah.
And that way I can do my hand gestures, which I'm doing right now.
Yeah, because we can see that.
Yep. So, speaking of other game, we have the Iron Kingdoms D&D 5th edition game that we'll be starting.
Excellent.
We have 4 of the 5 players so far. We still have on the Patreon page a seat open for 1 more player. Have an interesting group so far with an alchemist, a pair of elves that are both basically Russian mafia. One is a warcaster, which will have a basically pet steamjack, which is a steam-powered walking wall of metal that eventually she'll probably be equipping out with guns and stuff, which will be ridiculous for a outlaw campaign. We got a human alchemist over there, right?
Yep.
What details you got there?
I have decided that she's going to be of the, I hope I'm pronouncing it, Signarin.
Signarin, yep.
Yeah, Signarin, human, with a, aristocrat secret identity.
Deceptive aristocrat.
Yeah. So.
And
yeah.
we'll be getting Christopher joining us, which would be awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yep, that's why Saturday morning got picked. It's the first Saturday of the month, which is the only Saturday he has free. So he will be playing a Trollkin Bard Fellcaller.
Ooh.
Which are big, scary bards that are trolls that regenerate, but they're socially acceptable trolls. less likely to eat people. And
Socially acceptable.
And apparently known for blowing out windows and eardrums and organs with their voice. So your group will be a very scary group of outcasts until they're not a very scary, quiet group of outcasts. These criminals will, once they pull the trigger on noise, have a giant steam man running down the street and a giant trollkin bellowing at the top of his lungs. And oddly enough, even though most of you guys have some criminal background to make up for no class criminal background, nobody has actually taken the rogue or the criminal career path.
So hold it, then we have 2 alchemists?
You have 1 alchemist,
okay,
which is you, who took the deceitful noble background. We have a warcaster, which is basically a mystic caster that builds things. Totally think Iron Man with magic. More importantly, she builds 10-foot robot mechanical men that eat tons of water and coal for a living. And she can basically command it with her mind and do buff spells on people and machines.
Cool.
Then we have David's character, who's going to go with a elf as well. Also a basically Russian mafia is the background. It's going to be good because 2 of your 4 members so far cannot be ambushed by humanoids in a street fight.
Well, that is nice.
So your 2 paranoid mafiosos constantly have their eyes open waiting to get shanked from prison. That's totally their background's ability. And he's going to be a gunfighter. He hasn't picked whether it's pistols or rifles. So he's going to be strictly a fighter with firearms. Because, of course, in Iron Kingdoms, it is a gunpowder-friendly setting. It's one of the only few ones that I put up with firearms in my D&D. Because usually I hate guns in my D&D. But you do know, since you played that one shot we did, I love the gun mage. I do. Totally reminds me of some of the old animes I used to watch, where the Outlaw Star, where the guy's got the caster bullets, where he shoots magic bullets that do different tricks. It's totally cool. And then we've got the Trollkin, big 7-foot tall, big tough guy who's a battle bard. So he'll be getting in trouble. So you've got him and the Steamjack as your tanks, and the other 3 of you guys messing stuff up. But again, like I said, 5th seat is still open if somebody wants to jump in Patreon on that conversation and say, I'll take it. And I would totally love if they made themselves a Gobber rogue. Because gobbers are the cutest thing ever in that game. I know they're just not cute enough for you.
Well, it's like they're like a cross between they're kind of closer to. They're not like the goblins in D&D, the regular D&D. They're more like WoW's goblins and gnomes had a baby. Yeah, like exactly. They're like a cross between the 2.
I mean, I can totally hear gobbers talking with the World of Warcraft accent and chomping on a cigar.
I can totally see that.
I mean, one of the things they do in the game, because of course Iron Kingdoms is a RPG based on a tabletop war game, is you take rats and you fill them up with explosive black powder by basically letting them eat it, and then you throw them and blow them up.
Yeah, because that's just, good planning.
One of these days, when your gunfighter is shooting rats just out of habit, 1 in 20 will be full of black powder. Just warning you.
Lovely.
And one nice thing when it comes to Iron Kingdoms is they have a shtick where you pick your party's group thing, and of course this time you guys are outlaws. So you are going to get to pick a hideout, which I kind of rolled on some of the shenanigans for your group. And your hideout will consist of a meeting area, an admin office, sleeping chambers, holding cell, and several secret exits. But it's based on the fact that your hideout, let me find it in my notes here, is your gang's hideout is an abandoned warehouse, scrapyard, or industrial building whose former owners vanished during the claiming. And that's in game history time 5 years ago when hell basically came a calling to get 2/3 of souls on the surface of the planet.
Okay, then.
Yeah, they came a couple centuries early, but they decided to come and call their marker and for all the souls they were promised to give the humans magic. Stupid humans.
Stupid humans.
And of course, a bunch of people died. And if you play the tabletop game, they actually came out with weekly updates on the Twitter page of, and now this city is at war and this is the new faction setup, because they let all the factions that used to hate each other work together, because when demons are opening portals and invading, you work together. It's totally not a ripoff of Legion from World of Warcraft when it happened. See, I gotta give WoW credit because the Legion came out first, like 2 years before, so. Totally made me feel like when Legion happened, you have the random portals opening up and demon invaders coming and push your people to teleport away. So it's going to be a fun game. Basically, it's a nice, we're based on the Five Fingers, which is the ports of scum and villainy, which it seems like we have a motif there that we stick to those places.
Well, they tend to allow for multiple types of characters. So you get a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a character that wants to be a little more on the say less legal side of things, but you still have others, it allows the party to have a little more leeway for different types of characters.
No legally. On the plus side, your outlaw group's going to have a bunch of accomplishments they need to do to get themselves booped up. Because when you start, you're going to have a handful of level 0 minions. So basically, it's just the local street kids, that kind of stuff. I'm totally going to let you guys name them so your GM doesn't have to come up with all these NPCs. But something that you're going to be thinking about as a group to bump up your level from just being local hoods is you're going to want to destroy a rival gang and claim its territory, or breaking someone out of prison, because that's always street cred. And then if you pull off a heist and steal an item worth at least 1,000 gold, or hijacking, and I'm thinking our bard's going to do this because, by the way, his background is totally pirate, hijack a steamboat, train, or military vehicle. And I'm sure the steamboat's probably going to be what you're going to pick. And I'm sure you're totally going to tell me when I ask you all, and we have our group session 0 going on, that your area is right on the end of the shoreline, so boats would be perfect, right? Because once you steal the steamboat, the last thing you can do to bump up your credit is to smuggle illegal goods worth 1,000 gold. So if you steal the boat, and then you can steal the illicit goods, and, just saying. It's nice to be able to be on a small island, steal shit, put it on your boat, drive to where it's not stolen shit. And of course, there's a super benefit that when you guys hit level 3, if you've earned enough Uber renowned, that you guys then upgrade from a local hood to a criminal outfit. And then that improves that criminal info that you guys can get, so you can cash in gold to get info. And you get protection racket that the local vendors will provide you with 100 gold in protection money each month. And when you recruit folks, your up-and-coming criminals seek your gang out to prove their worth. You gain 1d4 criminal hirelings that you can use to gather information, shake down businesses, or take the fall for your crimes.
Well, if we're going to have a port side one, it'll be nice if somebody has harbor folk as their background.
Yeah, see, that's what the pirate's going to be nice. See, I was thinking harbor folk would be a good one because you always can catch a boat ride somewhere. But only one person went with the background for water, which is our pirate.
I almost went harbor folk, actually. But I thought that the secret identity aristocrat, would have been more fun for an alchemist. And also because then... yeah, it just made sense that they would have more access to certain materials and stuff if they had, here's some rich kid that got into alchemy, but likes the more dangerous side of it.
I know when you finally pick what formulas and stuff you want, I'm interested to see which ones you go with, because I'll have to totally make sure that the adventure requires those things, for one. And two, alchemical components are expensive. I mean, steam jacks are no cheap thing. I mean, Lexi's going to have to be stealing tons of steam and water just to keep her jack in operation. Because it's cute. When they run out of steam, they start taking points of exhaustion because they're tired.
Well, we can hopefully work together to secure,
Mm-hmm. I know.
regions.
With our gunfighter, they're proficient in their gunsmithing kit. So 3 of the 4 of you so far will have the ability to produce things. So your first couple heists are totally going to be to steal materials, if nothing else.
But of course.
I could just see your alchemist outside the local alchemist, the Golden Crucible shop, shaking your cup and say, "Hey, buddy, can I get a drop of alchemical components from you?" Yes, by the way, I'll totally throw it out there. At level 2, I'm working on a total heist where you get to rob the alchemist shop while the alchemist is running off to the doctor.
Okay.
Wonder what hurt him to make him run off to the doctor. Dun, dun, dun. And I will also throw out there, I did post for the Superhero Saturday morning game, by the way. So I know Christopher and Scott, I think, have commented on the Patreon post for that they would like to play. But the dealio is they want to be heroes, no gritty 90s and 80s anti-heroes, which I agree with. It's totally meant to be the whole superhero thing.
Yeah, and I totally support that, because it's like when you have a game and it's like, yeah, we're going to be, law, and then you have corrupt. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought we were supposed to be the,
Mm-hmm.
It kind of,
Kind of kiboshes the idea.
Exactly. It's like, wait a minute, I thought we were supposed to be heroes. We're doing what?
All of a sudden
Alignment
the concept
shift.
changes. Everybody shift to the left.
Yeah, I think we need to redo the alignments.
That's just always fun when it happens, so right?
Alignment
No.
slips?
It's never fun. Then you have to say, remember what you were playing?
Yeah.
So, speaking of superheroes, by the way, I will totally throw out Guardians of Justice on Netflix. It is a messed up show. It's totally they started as heroes and ended up as anti-heroes by the end. And totally the closest Justice League ripoff I've ever seen. I mean, they actually go out of their way to make the point that they're doing it. I love it. So you get to the very last episode, and then they're basically explaining why the episode before things went so crazy.
I don't know. It sounded pretty dark when you were telling me about
yeah. I mean, it's you think superheroes, and then like 20 minutes in, you're like, okay, this is beyond
and we're
dark.
watching Watchmen.
Hey, that's how I propositioned Guardians of Justice to you. It's literally Justice League meets Watchmen, only darker.
But yeah, it's a Watchmen. It's a superhero move. Let's take the kids. No, don't take the kids.
I still remember when I had a coworker do that, and I'm like, dude, I told you to go see it yourself. Maybe take the wife, but you probably want to go with the bros and go see it. You don't want to sit there with the wife watching it, because you could just be like, ooh, what happened here?
We watched it. Ow.
Yep. And the whole time a face was made going, what? What? Oh my God, they're going there.
It's like, yep, they went there.
Who knew that year Blue Phalanx sold 50% that year?
Oh my God, that's funny.
So we have lots of fun stuff starting up in January. Over the next 3 months or so between now and spring, I'm going to be wrapping up a lot of games. So that's going to be fun to see how that happens when I tell people, spend all your experience.
He really means it.
Or when I say, no, seriously, let's get to the story here. Let's bump the story forward here. Cause it's by March, we're wrapping things up. So we'll have 2 months to, 3 months-ish. Because we got that Wawa WestCon break coming up in March. That's going to be fun.
Yes.
Going to be having it at Casino del Sol instead of Old Tucson, which would be very, very interesting to see how things go. But so many of our friends who are working with the con are so excited and trying to not tell us stuff by telling us stuff. It's always that great thing when you're seeing your friends and you're excited because you're like, I know a thing, but I can't tell you anything. But I know a thing.
Well, and it's an interesting theme, Roaring Twenties, which, interesting because not necessarily the 1920s.
Mm-hmm. And technically we're still in the Victoriana steampunk era there if you're in the 1920s. I mean, some people are doing the 1620s.
That's the Edwardian.
I'm trying to do some timey-wimey steampunk stuff.
But hey, there's no such, I had plans. Until I injured my wrist, I had plans.
Yes, unfortunately, on the long list of medical issues this year, you ruined your dominant hand.
Yes.
And there's nothing worse than me saying you should have used your right hand for that whenever I can, because I'm evil. And I'm a meanie butt.
Yes. Earlier, you probably heard me say, "Ow!" Yep, that was.
That was her reaching for a drink with her left hand. Stop it!
It's so hard not to.
I know, but stop it. And this Friday we'll be doing our first episode of our Genesis Weird West. We still have to come up with a title for everything.
True.
Iron Kingdoms needs a title, probably your gang's name, whatever we pick when we finally have Session 0. The superhero one, I'm thinking just calling it Saturday Morning Superheroes. Probably super easy that way.
Yep.
Totally stick with the classic 70s Spider-Man superhero vibes.
I think it also will help reinforce the way you want to go with we're heroes, not
not the anti-heroes.
Exactly.
But it's quicker to shoot them, Batman. And then we have the Scion. We have to come up with what we want the name. Probably remember before we were talking Reliquary or something like that? Because since the arch, the big arch on the Scion game is that you'll be trying to find the relics necessary to lock the Titans back up. Unfortunately, even the gods don't know where those are right now because, when you have a garage sale, you lose shit. When you move a couple times, you lose shit, And when your kids are constantly stealing your toys, you lose even more stuff. Just ask so many parents and their PlayStations are saying. And one of the fun things, too, is going to be that think of how many relics change through the generations,
descriptions or interesting interpretations.
I mean, you could even say from a certain point of view, Thor has Mjolnir, but his Scion son's big damn giant Bane handgun has a sliver of Mjolnir as the firing pin on the hammer. So in theory, you could say that is an extension of Mjolnir. How many other relics out there have used bits and pieces of relics? Just a thought there. So lots of fun stuff. And by the way, I totally need to come up with a name for this segment because we need to start doing more around the table chats because we totally were going to do that, but then we didn't do that. So we need to either call this Chatting Around the Table or Around the Table Chat, something like that I was thinking.
Okay.
So I'll totally take your feedback Because if you say stupid, I'll be all butthurt.
No, I'm not going to say it's stupid. I'm just trying to think of, like all of a sudden, just like Roosevelt's fireside chats, popped into my head, that type of,
So you're saying dice side chats? Hey, that could be a good one. I haven't heard that one used either.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many podcasts I listen to, and I'm like, I want to make sure I don't copy anybody else's stuff.
That is a good point.
Mm-hmm. So dice side chats, huh?
I kind of like that.
Okay, dice side chats. Adding it to my notes, so when I edit this, I know what to put on top of it. See, that's why I keep you around as my idea team. I mean, it's also you're the only one that showed up to game night tonight, but hey.
Hey, it's like lots of things are going on.
So anything for you? You got anything to talk about?
I'm looking forward to the Scion game because it's been a while. One that I still would kind of like to, go back to at some point in the future would be the Dresden Files, Fate style game.
I know I am a huge fan of the Fate system and the fact that it is one of those, even if you just do regular Fate, not the new accelerated one, which basically just is Fate cut down a little. You still get so many fun things that you can come up with. You can come up with a game literally on the fly with Fate, which is nice.
Well, and the world building together, it's very intriguing that you can do that. Of course, sometimes and it's great when everybody is when they're vibing off each other and listening and stuff, and then you get that one person who just does whatever, wait a minute, that sounds like a completely different game.
When somebody throws out pineapple for the pizza order.
Yeah.
But only one of us likes pineapple.
Yeah, so it's you have to, be careful, but it's fun, and also you can craft more individualized characters, I think, sometimes.
True. I mean, the Dresden Files does an amazing job of making Session Zero completely organic and natural. One thing I really love with their style is when you're having the GM and the players, because the GM is one of the players that starts with it, the Session Zero, you all are picking the big interesting things in the city together, so that way your GM doesn't have to talking head you information.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, I'll throw it out there for Iron Kingdoms. On the Roll20 page, I've got tons of documents and maps and things like that to let you guys read if you opt to read, because if you don't opt to read, you're obviously being a non-local who doesn't know better, and that's okay too. But so that way you get the info dump of what the setting is, what the flavor is, what you should expect. So that way you don't get that uh-oh moment when you committed to something that in your headcanon makes perfect sense, but everyone else at the table's looking at you like, what?
The eyebrow up and the quizzical, huh?
Just to throw out there, that shark picture that you saw that you were terrified I was throwing at the high seas shenanigan group.
Oh, I know, that was... I'm like, no.
In Iron Kingdoms, there's this great megalodon shark that's all biomechanicaled out, so it's got literally a wood chipper on its lower jaw, and it's got steam pipes coming out its back. This is what happens when you let gobbers get a corpse of a shark and turn it into a submarine.
That's just nasty.
Yep. But no, that's not being used in our classic Pirates D&D game of High Seas Shenanigans, which we totally need to get together with that group too. Life has been hard on all of our gaming groups. Now, of course, the question is, are we going to be wrapping up High Seas Shenanigans and Daggers of Freeport in March? Or should we wait till midsummer? Or should you slap me in the face and say, don't I dare?
Daggers of Freeport should not end, period. Boom.
Okay, that's totally an option. I was just figuring I'd throw it out there.
It's too... No, you can't.
But you need to get me your vote for High Seas, whether it should wrap up in the beginning of summer, or if we should keep on going.
Keep on going.
Spoken of like a player who's invested their character and their cash into a world, gotten their boat built up, gotten their skill up.
We have so many like different, possible directions to take it in. I mean, we've created some enemies. I think that they can go for greater distance.
Okay. I mean, one of the big things is I got to get podcasts in those episodes because we got a lot of those episodes backed up that didn't get podcasts.
Oh.
Of course, we also had technical difficulties when the computer died and some stuff may have been lost.
No.
I'm still surfing through files and stuff since the hard drive died.
Yeah.
But thankfully, there's a backup who has most of it. So yeah, there's the human flesh and the mechanical flesh was weak this year.
Mm-hmm. That's a good description of it.
Yes. Because things happened. But on the plus side, we're going into the Christmas season. We're almost at Yule. We just passed the start of Hanukkah. Everything should be good the rest of the year. Apparently the dogs are having a good time.
Yep, there we go. Yeah.
Everyone is being healthy and wealthy and making sure to...
I would take out that last one.
Well, wealthy is we have more than $1 in our pocket, so I count that as wealth.
We're making the rent. Woohoo!
The electricity is still on, so that
is a serious... That in itself is pretty impressive these days.
The lights are still on, so we can keep podcasting.
Yeah.
And I know I've said it a time or two, but definitely hit the Patreon site. You don't have to be a supporter to hit the Patreon site and see the stuff we have for everybody there. But a lot of times we're posting stuff there because, the CreativePlanPodcastNetwork.com website is currently down. And we can post stuff there that Facebook won't let us post because unfortunately Facebook is the devil and the algorithms are even worse. So when we post stuff, even less people get to see it. So that's where we post our streaming schedules.
Gee, unless you pay lots and lots and lots of money.
Oh no, we have friends who have businesses on Facebook. When you pay them money, they only share it to the people who already like your stuff.
Yeah, see, so.
Yes, never pay. Never pay to play on Facebook.
And I like I've said, Facebook, you know my opinion.
Mm-hmm. But if you're interested in jumping in on some games, definitely I'm going to be posting this Thursday some more TUSCON 49 panels that we went to. A lot of folks were liking the Looking for Inspiration one from last week because it comes from a bunch of different writers with different ideas of where to get your ideas. And that's always hard, especially for like players with characters and GMs that are just like, I got nothing for a game. What am I going to do? I got 2 hours to go. What movie am I shamelessly shaving off the serial numbers to and plopping in front of my players today?
I prefer to call it an homage.
And as a GM, I will totally throw it out there. Running games like that is stressful at the uptick, but once you've got the players rolling in it and enjoying themselves, it's a lot easier on yourself because you give yourself more freeform. Whereas a lot of times you're pigeonholed if you have something written in advance. On the plus side, if you're also streaming or podcasting that, you can go back and re-listen to what you did and say, oh yeah, I meant to do that all the time, and write that down in your GM's Bible. Because if not, you'll totally forget those things. And your players will totally say, didn't you tell us what hangar bay that they're supposed to be in? And then you have to scroll up and look in the notes. And you're like, wow, some smart GM actually posted that hangar bay in the notes and then totally forgot that he did so.
Yeah, and that one of the players was paying attention.
Damn players paying attention. Why you
taking notes?
Why are you taking notes and paying attention? As I say to the woman who has a notebook so definite that she uses different colors for different characters.
Ironically enough, not for that game though.
Yeah, that's the one game, and especially with this short run, because we haven't heard from CJ in a while of when he was supposed to come back, because this is supposed to be just
Well, he said a few months.
this is supposed to just be a 3-month little one-shot. And then y'all enjoy playing evil Star Wars characters. Because, by the way, if you haven't guessed it, we're talking about the Whispers of the Sith campaign.
I absolutely adore playing my psychotic little murder bot.
BT, the murder droid.
BT. Damn Skippy.
And I gotta admit, everybody's jumped into a nice synchronicity, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know that if it's close enough, BT will blow it up. If it's far enough, our sniper will shoot it. If it's close enough, our Wookiee or our Sith Lord will rip it to pieces. And now we have a bounty hunter with a big-ass rifle who covers the spread between close to far, and she's got a flamethrower.
Who doesn't? Oh, no, those are just incendiary missiles that I have.
Though I will say I was watching some Star Wars on Disney Plus on the animated stuff, and I saw the saddest thing. A young teenage Twi'lek with one of her Lekku shot off.
Aww.
She had this stumpy old Lekku at like chin level. It was sad.
Aww, that is sad.
So I'm pretty sure I'm tapped out. Are you tapped out? You got anything else you want to squeeze for the juice?
That just sounds so wrong.
That's why it sounds right
I
in my head.
I think we, covered the initial topic sufficiently.
All right. So thank you for joining us, guys, for the very first Dice Side Chats. Or is it chats or is it chat?
I would say chats because they're going to be more than one.
Okay. So the very first Dice Side Chat. We have a title now. Look at that. It just came together on its own. I love that. And we'll definitely be posting on the Creative Plan Podcast Network the Tuscon 49 stuff if it is game related, which I still totally have to go back and re-listen to what I did for the next two because I've totally forgotten because I slept since then. And work's been hard.
Yes.
If it's game related, I will totally drop it on the D&D Journey of the 5th edition since, if it's game related. If it's not game related, it totally stays down on Creative Plane Podcast Network. Because that way it's not disrupting the D&D fans. Because we're back, baby. And let's see. I totally need to bring up my calendar real quick. Good thing I'm sitting at the electronic pocketbook here. So this is totally going to be posted on the 22nd. So we will have one more episode after the new year.
Ah.
So everybody have a great Christmas if you do Christmas. Have a great rest of Hanukkah if you do Hanukkah. If you do Kwanzaa, have a great Kwanzaa, which I can totally say next episode because we're still got time for that. But whatever happy holidays you have, please have a great, safe holidays. Make sure you get some gaming in. If you can't game in person, jump on Roll20. There are plenty of looking for groups there. There are a couple other hire a GM sites. Totally keep an eye on the Patreon page to see if I do any one-shot games, because if we get 3 or more players, we can do that one-shot. A lot of times we only get like 2 people, and we're all just like, meh, we'll hang. Especially for the late-night ones, we just get on and chit-chat. But definitely check it out. Tomorrow night is Dungeons and Dread. They're going to be finally running into a vampire. It's been like pulling fangs to get them to a vampire. But they're totally going to walk into a trap with a vampire. I'm just saying. So keep an eye out for that.
Dun.
And
you should have said spoiler alert.
Shh. This is going to be posted the day after that episode. So that episode will be out already on Twitch to watch.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this one will be coming up the day after. So, the canonicalness of time, I guess, would be the way you'd say that. What's some Doctor Who-y words to use?
I'm not as much of a Whovian as you are.
That just means it's made up words. Timey-wiminess.
Timey-wimey, okay.
Alrighty, guys. We are definitely brain fried from work, but talking about gaming is a good thing. And I think we should wrap it up there.
All right.
All right, guys. Have a great night. Thank you for listening, and definitely keep an eye out on Facebook or Twitter I think we're doing Instagram now. I think Facebook now does that. Who knows? And then definitely the podcast. All right, guys. Have a great holiday season, and please stay warm because everybody's cold and wet out there right now.
Oh, yes.
All right. Bye, guys.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to D&D Journey of the 5th Edition, a member of the Creative Play and Podcast Network. Please follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/CPPN to never miss a show or stream.